All right, today I'm very quickly going to run you through the Astoria Warrenton area. I'm going to get you more familiar with the area, maybe give you a little bit of history. As always, talk to you a little bit about the real estate market, and by the end of this video, I think you'll have a much better feel for the area. Stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Living on the Oregon Coast, Seth Marchant with the Home Team Brokers here. Or if you're new to this channel, living on the Oregon Coast, and you want to see more videos about what it's like to live on the Oregon Coast, including videos like this that are really going to familiarize you with the area, make sure and hit the subscribe button, tap the bell. That way you'd be notified every time we drop a new video, which is every Sunday. And if you're somebody who's thinking about moving to the Oregon Coast, my name is Seth Marchant. I'm a licensed broker in the state of Oregon with the Home Team Brokers. You can call, text, email, or click the link below if you want to get in touch with us and schedule a Zoom call with us. All the contact information is below in the description there. All right, Astoria, Warrenton today. So Astoria is about 90 minutes just west of Portland. People are typically taking the 30 to get here, or more probably commonly, Highway 26 Sunset Highway runs into the 101 right here. Takes you right up into Seaside, just south of that, the ever-popular Cannon Beach. So Astoria, Warrenton, this is probably one of the more historical, if not the most historical town along the Oregon coast. It's the oldest city in the state of Oregon. It was the first American settlement west of the Rocky Mountains. It's in the northwest, as you can see, corner of Oregon, right there at the mouth of the Columbia River, the mighty Columbia River. The city was named after John Jacob Astor, who was an investor and an entrepreneur from New York City. So let's start from the east here and work our way west. Let me give you, these are city limits right here. So this is city limits for Astoria. If we take the zip code though, everything outside, which extends pretty far out, all this is unincorporated area right here. So when you're visiting Astoria, one thing that you will notice about Astoria is you will notice that big, huge hill. At the very top, you've got the Astoria Column, definitely a place to visit if you've never done so before. A few other things you're going to want to do when you visit Astoria. There's a great river walk trail that goes all the way here, just north of Navy Heights, and takes you all the way. Kind of this is the downtown. This is where everything's at. Astoria has around 10,000 people or so. One thing that's going to make Astoria sort of unique from the other towns along the Oregon coast that are of similar size, which would be like a Lincoln City, around 10,000 people, Newport, Florence. I would say that Astoria has more of a big town feel to it than some of those other towns, maybe with the exception of the Coos Bay, North Bend area, which is combined about 25,000 people. Lincoln City is very long and doesn't have an actual kind of a central downtown. Newport's pretty big, but doesn't have this kind of historic downtown with actually these larger type high-rise buildings. Florence is very small. They have an old town. A lot of people in Florence, but it doesn't have kind of the history and the vibrancy of the downtown that Astoria does. You got a ton of great restaurants and shops that are going to be all along the Columbia River right here. So if you're new to the area, you're probably going to spend a lot of your time right along here visiting shops and restaurants. Now, if you frequent any groups online about the Oregon coast, and a lot of people like to ask, well, where are some of the best restaurants along the Oregon coast? Quite frankly, I don't hear Astoria that often. I tend to hear places more like Newport or Lincoln City. But with that being said, in my opinion, Astoria has some of the best restaurants along the Oregon coast, probably benefiting from their proximity to Portland. Portland is very well known for its culinary scene. I think a lot of that has made its way over to Astoria in the last 10 to 20 years. There's also going to be a lot of places to get up on your history here. The Columbia River Maritime Museum, for example. If you're wondering where the Goonies house is, since we're right there, it's I think it's right about here. That movie, The Goonies. That house in that movie, The Goonies, recently was on the market and sold. I think it was well over seven figures. I think it was like 1.5 or 1.6 or something like that, which is well over the average price point in Astoria. I'll get to that in a little bit further into this video. As I understand it, the new owners actually are very welcoming of people being able to visit the property. That wasn't the case with the previous owners. I think they did not enjoy all of the traffic that location received. I'll point out another historical item from that movie here in the downtown in just a moment. We've got Columbia Memorial Hospital. This is one of maybe 6 or 7 major hospitals along the Oregon coast. So you got a major hospital right in downtown. The Oregon Film Museum actually is where you would see, if you remember the Fratellis, that Jeep that got shot up, it's still there. You can go see it. It's got the fake bullet holes and everything if you want to get a little bit more of your Goonies history. Astoria has one high school just on the other side of the hill that we're at right here. So Astoria High School right there. So this hill was really great, giving a lot of the houses here a lot of great water views. So if you're looking for something, whether it's a view of the Columbia River or Young's Bay, Young's River, not really going to get any ocean views, as you might imagine, with Fort Stevens State Park and Warrenton over here kind of blocking the way. But a lot of water views throughout Astoria. So for the most part, all of this is going to be fairly urban. Again, like I said, it really has more of a bigger town feel to it than just about anywhere else. Across from Young's Bay, you do have this area, Jeffers Garden. A little bit of a new development going out there right now, too, and some acreage if you're looking for a place with some acreage. So a little bit more rural out here, but you're just going to be 5 minutes, just hop, skip, and a jump over the bay, over to Astoria. For whatever it is that you want to do over there, like your shopping, your restaurants. Your major shopping hub really is over here in Warrenton, right here, right in this section right here. So there's a Fred Meyer. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of one of those everything stores like a Walmart. And there's a Walmart as well, including a Costco, the only Costco on the Oregon coast. Got a Home Depot, AutoZone, bunch of chains over here. You won't find as many chain restaurants, fast food, in downtown Astoria. Do you have food carts too, becoming more popular on the Oregon coast, kind of slowly working their way from Portland to the Oregon coast. So over here into Warrenton. So these two areas kind of get grouped together at the Astoria Warrenton area. Now Warrenton is population maybe somewhere around 6,000 people, although I will say it does have a very small town feel to it. It's kind of one of those one stoplight type of towns. This is the main road that goes through Warrenton right here, South Main Avenue. There's where you get your breakfast. That's about the only place to do so. There's only a couple places to eat here in Warrenton. So I'm thinking of other towns along the Oregon coast that might have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people that actually are smaller than Warrenton but have a bigger feel. So this is a very, very small feel to it. You've got the marina right here where a lot of people that are coming to fish are putting in. Some of the best fishing and salmon fishing is going to be actually out this way. There's a little place called Buoy 10 that's notorious for some of the best salmon fishing that attracts a lot of salmon fishers all throughout kind of western Oregon and southwestern Washington. Now, as far as your home values go, the average value in Astoria as it stands right now, when I looked it up this morning, $463,000. Warrenton was $493,000. Although there's probably a reason why Warrenton is a little bit higher, although you probably won't expect that in this area. I'll get to that in just a moment. But there's about 94 properties on the market right now this morning. About half of those are single-family homes. About the other half of those are actually lots and land, and then there's a handful of other things like a few manufactured, few multifamily. Won't find a ton of condos and townhouses in Astoria, Warrenton. A lot of the land is going to be all throughout Astoria, not just in city limits, but out here as well. So if you want to find some acreage out in some unincorporated area, you can do that. Warrenton, if you're buying a house out here in Warrenton, like I mentioned, average value is $493,000, although really, homes here are really not going to be more expensive than Astoria. Part of what's propping that up is this unincorporated right here, and city limits in about right here. This unincorporated area down here, Sunset Beach and Surf Pines. This is a little gated community. Homes in here, you probably aren't finding anything under 600. Average probably closer to 800. Plenty of homes well over $1 million. So that kind of, when a few homes sell in there, that kind of props up the average for Warrenton. So if you go online, you see the average home values being higher in Warrenton. Apples to apples, similar house, similar age, similar lot size, really not going to be more expensive than Astoria. Now, a lot of these homes, as you might imagine, built in the early 1900s. So a lot of old homes. You won't find much new construction here. A few new construction things. There's a new construction subdivision over here in Jeffers Garden. There's a handful of lots that are still available too if you want to build from the dirt up. And the types of homes you're going to find in here, Victorian, bungalow, the types of homes that were built in the early 1900s. So if you kind of like those homes with history, if you like something that's a little bit more quaint, stuff like that, you're going to find a lot of that in Astoria. Now, over in Warrenton, the homes here, a lot of homes that were built here more recently, last 30, 40, 50 years. So you won't really find like the old Victorians as much in Warrenton as you might in Astoria. Now, one thing is also going to make this area unique and kind of give it a different feel than the rest of the Oregon coast. So we're in Clatsop County here in Astoria, Warrenton, and Clatsop County for a long time had a moratorium on short-term vacation permits, otherwise known as Airbnbs, what you would find on VRBO. What constitutes a short-term vacation rental is something that's rented under 30 days. So that ended just about a month ago, semi-recently, but Astoria and Warrenton do not allow short-term vacation rentals unless it's in an area that's zoned commercial. So meaning you'd have to find a house, or, of course it could be a hotel, but, that's not going to be a short-term rental as it's, as like an Airbnb, like a typical Airbnb, right? So there are a handful of houses that do happen to be in some areas that are zoned commercial in Astoria, but there aren't many of them. Astoria and Warrenton do also allow, under certain circumstances, homestays. So think of like a bed and breakfast, some sort of property that has multiple rooms, and the owner would also supposed to be on the property as well. They're also supposed to follow certain other guidelines, such as providing you breakfast. So because those things are very limited in the Astoria-Warrenton area, a lot of people here living here are full-time people. You don't have the vacation rentals that you do like in Newport or Seaside or Lincoln City. So kind of gives it a little bit of a different vibe. You don't have all those short-term rentals all over the place, which you get more of the people coming to the beach to party. So in places like Newport and Lincoln City a little bit more often. So that in and of itself kind of makes it unique and gives it a little bit of a different vibe. Now, Warrenton, Fort Stevens State Park. This is I think close to like a 3,700 acre park. It's going to be one of the largest state parks in the state of Oregon. It's incredible, definitely worth a visit. A lot of history to look at here. If you want to check out history too, you're going to see these things popping up. Battery Russell. You're going to see a lot of these batteries. And if you don't know what that is, a battery is it's a structure that's designed to house multiple artillery. And if you had to guess, too, you might think that this is from World War II. This actually was constructed around the mid-1800s during the Civil War. Now, it was maintained throughout World War II, specifically for World War II. Of course, again, this location right here, if you're thinking geographically, facing the west, what was west of us in around that time in the 1940s that we're worried about? Japan, Pearl Harbor. That, if you remember Pearl Harbor right there, Japan actually. If you look up, I'm not a history buff, but I know a few things did make its way here from Japan, including a submarine, maybe a few balloons as well, carrying things that like balloons that are trying to drop bombs. There's a few things that made its way here from Japan to this area, but for the most part, this fort really didn't ever actually see any action. But all this stuff is still here. There's a handful of RV parks here. There's a lot of places to camp in here if you just want to set up a tent. And this beach line right here from Warrenton ends right down here about Gerhardt. One of the longest coastlines along the Oregon coast. Also, you can drive this too. One of the very few places, kind of really, you could say the only place that you could drive along the Oregon coast. So what are you getting with Astoria, Warrenton? Great beaches nearby, tons of history, kind of bigger town living, or you got a lot of rural just outside of the area. And, shopping comes up a lot because if you're coming from California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, wherever it is that you're coming from, I will say you might have to adjust to the shopping situation along the Oregon coast. The North Coast is definitely the best place, where the best shopping is. A lot of the central to the southern Oregon coast, you don't have Costco. You don't have a lot of big box stores. You don't have some of the amenities that you might be used to from some of the places that you're coming from. And that's important to a lot of people. You might not think about it in your day-to-day, but once it's not there, once you don't have Costco, for some people. That takes some getting used to. So you're shopping right here. This hub will be as good as it gets along the Oregon coast. There's a lot of places too that I didn't even mention. You'll see when you're going through this area, all the various different shopping centers. It's really the biggest shopping center along the northern Oregon coast with these two sections right here combined. By the way, if you're seeing this, if you notice this too right here, just a municipal airport, so no public flights out of there, private flights. I think probably actually just the Coast Guard using that airport right there. Closest airport along the Oregon coast, of course, is going to be in Portland. Again, 90 minutes to the east of us, PDX. That gives you a little better feel for the area. If you're thinking about moving to this area, Paul and I know it very well. We spend a lot of time out here on the northern Oregon coast. Again, you can always call us, text us, email us. You can click the link below in the description of this YouTube video if you want to hop into our calendar and schedule a Zoom call with us. And if you want to see more videos about what it's like to live on the Oregon coast, whether it's just a map video like this or we get out and vlog, got lots of drone footage, tons of drone and driving footage. If you really want to get just a better look as to how the area is actually laid out on the ground or from the air, we've got a lot of videos like that. So make sure and subscribe to us. Again, new videos every single Sunday. Until next time, take care, everyone.